I'm Pops, and let's talk Werewolf by Night. Wow. Marvel can get some things right and then can't get out of their own way. I would love to know more about the backstory of this little Halloween film special thing they put together. Um, I'm not going to pretend to be a super expert. The only comics that I have ever read for Werewolf by Night, Man Thing, these type of monster hunters in the monster universe in the Marvel, I've only read the really old stuff. So I really can't 100% give you perspective on what works or don't works on some of the modern stuff. Let me tell you what, I actually enjoyed this with some caveats. I'm interested to do a little bit of playthrough with you just to look for a couple of Easter eggs and things I didn't catch. I knew there were issues, and then I'll point out some of my problems. And the irony is, the problems are so small. Like it would be so easy to fix this and make this better with just a few other issues. So, Werewolf by Night. It was a 1970s comic book brought on the scenes with a crossover with Moon Knight, because Moon Knight is at that point just a mercenary, a man for hire with all these skills, and he's brought in to basically bring the werewolf in. They want to basically capture the werewolf and capture Jack and use him basically as a weapon. Man Thing, on the other hand, is an interesting creature, kind of similar to Swamp Thing in a lot of ways, obviously. It's just one of those things that kind of works. And I got to be honest, in this, I'll tell you when it works and when it doesn't work. So let's change this and let's get this show on the road a little bit, as they say. Because I will say some of it really does work and some of it does not. First of all, I like that it was shot in black and white. They are going for like an old 1950s sort of homage to things we don't have to deal with. By the way, I like their special logo, by the way, which I felt like they were cheating from me a little bit. I really want to play through this a little bit because I see that they took the Marvel Universe stuff, and then what they did was they put some cuts in here, and I thought they would. Their creature overlays. Is there anything else? It felt like there was more here than just the little effects, but I guess maybe I was wrong. It seemed like there was stuff in the background, but I guess that's just the Marvel logo playing. There are some Easter eggs here with when to go, some things like that in the credits where they're giving you the backstory of, we see the Marvel universe so far, but there's also like the monster universe within the Marvel universe. So you do have, Draculas and werewolves and monsters and creatures and things like that. And we've only seen like, Blade's voice off camera, the vampire, the walking vampire that can kill other vampires. And, we really haven't dealt with any of them. We barely just cracked the surface of the cosmic and the mystic elements of the Marvel universe. So anyway, so let me make this bigger. Let me take a drink. For some reason, as soon as you start hitting record, you can have problems like that. The first 20 minutes or so of this are really, really good. I think they did a great job of setting all this up, where you basically have the death of Ulysses Bloodstone, this famous monster hunter. I'm assuming they're going for he was zombie, which is a character of like a walking zombie, or I don't know, or he thought it'd be funny to be this animatronic version of himself to kind of speak to this group of hunters who will now take the Bloodstone, which is this magical stone that has incredible powers over monsters. It can make them transform. It can really reduce their energy. Really, it's just a very, very important thing in the grand scheme of things. And we're introduced to different characters that are there, some of which I know, some of which I don't know. The most important thing is that we get introduced to the title character, Jack. He's walking in. This is Jack Russell, and he is the werewolf by night. He is his family. I think it was a curse. The family read the Darkhold, and that's what made him his ancestor a werewolf, so that he just inherited it, I think is how the story goes. I have not read this in a minute. They don't address his backstory. He alludes to ancestral issues, so I think that's what they're going for. Just really got to be honest, I don't know if this is in the volume or if they shot on a location, because some of this looks great, some of this doesn't. We get this guy who actually speaks. He is introduced. Anyway, it doesn't matter. He's a human hunter. I think there's an issue that I'm familiar with that I know. This is the mom, the widow on the right, Veruza, and this is Elsa, the daughter, Bloodstone. Elsa's the family outcast. Didn't really want to be part of all this. Didn't like the tactics, those kinds of things. Went out in the world to do her thing, and she's come back basically to get the Bloodstone. Played by Laura Donnelly, who does a fantastic job, by the way. And I know there's like this wokeness of, girl power or whatever, and we'll get to more of that. These are some of the different characters around the room. This is the animatronic Ulysses explaining what the rules are going to be as we go forth, and we're going to have this contest to get the Bloodstone. So basically, whatever hunter can get the Bloodstone off the monster can keep the Bloodstone. And the problem with all of this is they don't really define why some of the hunters don't like each other. Like, I don't quite get. I mean, they're trying to compete, but this is what we got here. I didn't even bother to learn some of their names. Like, I just didn't care. Like, this one is Simon, I think. They call him Simon. I don't know. This is the David Bowie person. Yeah, whatever. It doesn't matter. It just matters. So they go out in the woods. So all of this is great. Great setup, great intrigue, interesting designs, shot in black and white. It's very clean and crisp, so it's not really. They're going for that 50s feel, but it doesn't really care. But I liked it. I thought it was fine. And you have sort of like this back and forth, and there's like this battle with them confronting each other. And, Jack wins the dibs to go out first. He runs into Elsa. He doesn't want to fight, but then she immediately has to fight the big guy here. Well, she ends up with the axe. She ends up taking the axe in this guy. So, again, let's just call it like it is. She's totally a Mary Sue. She gets like a scratch on her leg. Like, she's taking down men like left and right. She can do no wrong, things like that. So, and it's fine. In this, it works. So here's where she gets into this fight. And ultimately, by the way, they don't have their own weapons. The weapons are hidden within the maze to find the monster. And they end up with this back and forth. She ends up killing Simon, and then they're about to be found, but really the other guy just takes the axe and just walks away. So all of this, we're really in great shape. We're 20 minutes in and really enjoying the journey. And I can recommend all this. And then, of course, the best part of the whole thing is Man-Thing. So Man-Thing in black and white, like in this shot right here, where he's looking through the hedge and they're talking. I was reminded of like Star Wars characters like a Chewbacca that doesn't speak English, but Han and he have this great relationship. People might be afraid or intimidated, but he has this great relationship. So Jack and the Man-Thing. The Man-Thing's name is Ted. Ted Gillis is the guy that was transformed into Man-Thing. So the fact that they're both humans trapped with this monster persona and then being friends and all that all works so great. And this is all set up well. This is by far the best scenes is these.
Explore our way out of here. All you have to do is don't die.
Let me see if I can go back just a little bit and get to before that when you see him.
These little things.
Yeah, I don't care for any of that.
Keep counting on me to save you. This is the last time.
Yeah, whatever. So it's really, really good. Anyway, so things progress, and you see other people coming around to catch them. Like, you're going to see things get crazy. And then he ends up in here. He runs in this little room, and she says something like, "Don't close the door." Basically, he just locked them in a mausoleum, the family mausoleum. So we're a little over 20 minutes, and then we spend 20, let's see, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it takes like almost 5 minutes where they just sit and chat. And this is what Marvel does wrong. This is what Marvel does in their other shows, is they can't keep the exposition going while with the action going. Like, they have to find ways to stop and sit and talk. They can't show us things. They can't communicate as a normal human. They had to contrive this way for them to sit and chat and compare notes and start to like each other, right? She has to start liking Jack, and Jack has to become fond of her. And instead, that's what happens here for nearly 5 minutes. before she just goes, oh wait, I have this Aunt Frances, and like my dad did this thing about Aunt Frances, and like if she died, she'd come back, and by God, oh my gosh. So she just knows, go and look at Aunt Frances's mausoleum, starts pulling out dead bodies, and of course there's a key to get out. Isn't that convenient? So again, this is so we do great things to get us to this point. We stall all the action. We contrive all of this nonsense so that Mary Sue can have the keys to resume the story, and that's pretty much what happens. So then we get back to the actual story, and there's still some back and forth where we're not really moving the action of what's going on, but basically it's like, listen, I can get, his name is Ted. If you call him by his name, he won't attack you. And this is where, you think this guy's going to get the upper hand. And of course, again, like I said, we get the best parts of the entire episode is he's closing in, and then she's confronted him. And you're like, wait a minute. They fought once before, but now he has two weapons. Really good. And then all of a sudden, Man-Thing emerges. Man-Thing vaporizes him. Oh, freaking great. Everything with Man-Thing is what steals the show. Man-Thing steals the show. There's some chasing, there's some running, and then we have to do the other thing that Marvel does, because it's, we can't have smart men, and we can't not have Marvel humor. So what we do is when Jack gets to this crack in the wall, so the plan will be put this little explosive thing of this crack in the wall that Elsa described to him, which actually was there, and it will blow a hole in the wall, so therefore Man-Thing can leave. And as long as she gets the Bloodstone, she doesn't really care. She just wants the Bloodstone. That's the plan. So what we have to do, though, is we have to get Jack to the wall, and then he has to not be able to know how to use. He can't know how to use the explosive. There's all these gags about put it here, throw it there, do this, do whatever. Oh my God, it was just so stupid. We're wasting time trying to create a gag. Him dropping it or something one time could have worked, but to keep at it anyway. Long story short, they blow the hole, and whenever she uses this chain recovery thing, and he grabs the Bloodstone when it's on the ground, but when Jack runs over, so she's happy that they got it. The plan worked. He goes over, he picks it up and zaps him, right? Because why does it zap him? Well, it zaps him because he's a monster. So now she knows. And then basically the entire premise of the episode shifts. So the other two monster hunters, Verussa and the butler, are there, and they're like, we got ourselves another monster. You've betrayed everything. You helped the monster. He's a monster. Blah, 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 blah. And he wakes up in a cage with Elsa because she's going to be his food because the stone can just make him transform. Okay. Why does Elsa not just get the stone? Like, she got the stone. Just because Jack is a monster pretending to be a monster didn't change the fact that she got the stone. It didn't. Verussa's just a witch and wanted the Bloodstone all along. So I'm not sure why we had to have this contrived event where she basically was going to be the one who was going to try to take it for herself. That's literally like the twist. Like, she's really the villain in the show. Man-Thing's not. No one else is a villain. She's the villain. And there's just, again, this is the Marvel slowdown, because we have to spend way too long talking about what's going to happen before it actually starts to happen. 2 minutes, 2.5, 3 minutes before you get to the ceremonial moment where Verussa shows up. And by the way, they show up with these robes and masks and stuff, and then they just take them off. And you're like, I don't understand. Why did we put them on? Why did she have to put on drippy eye makeup? And does she put it on like that, or does it just flow down? Like, because I think the thing is about these people that are making these shows is they think certain things are cool or would look cool. It's like they are Hot Topic fans. They're not actual fans. They didn't read the source material. They may have even been given the graphic novel to take home and then just like thumb through a few things. Maybe when they got to write a scene, they'll open it up, or they'll Wikipedia or Google a scene and then look for that comic book issue and read that page or two. But they didn't read it. They didn't consume it. So things like this is what shows me that's what happens in these creatives. As much as I like the show, I also know they're not being done by real fans. This is crazy. It's fine. And I don't know if they're trying to go for cheap cosplay where they can sell robes and masks and have people wear makeup and they think they're cosplaying. It's one of them. We wasted 3 or 4 minutes, and then we have to waste a little more time for the transformation to Zap because it just takes so long to get to this point where we finally turn him into a vampire, into a werewolf. And then the transformation and stuff was pretty weak. I don't know, man. The Howling and Werewolf in London just were so freaking cool. And this was just like generic CGI stuff. Anyway, the only thing that makes this redeeming is that he grabs Verusa's arm and pulls her in. I wish he just would have bit off her arm. It would have been better. I like the shots because we don't necessarily get to see a lot. Like, it's actually very confusing with the way they added some smoke and elements like that. I will say some of the design looks good. There's a problem with like the torso area. It just doesn't look proportionally right. Like, I'm not quite sure. Is he man wolf? Is he wolf man? What is he? Because I don't think the design right there is quite right. He's neither man nor animal. Anyway, he bursts out the top. So I thought at this point, oh, this is going to be great because now they're just going to showcase the werewolf. She's in the cage and safe. Now Jack did do this thing about, putting smells on her and stuff so the wolf will recognize her. Okay, I wish they had set that up in the previous conversation instead of wasting more time here. However, I thought, well, this is going to be great because the wolf's going to come out. He's going to pulverize all these different people, and then she's safe in the cage. And then it will be, no, that's not what happens. It's a little bit of what happens. And the wolf is great, and all of this is happening. And some of this is great. I don't quite understand why he's a werewolf and knows martial arts, and he's not just wolf. See, some of the design looks okay, but like the body style isn't quite right. Like, there's pieces that are okay and not okay. It's been done way better in other film, just so they know. Like, no offense, but back and forth, zapping him. This is the fighting with, not Blade. I don't know. It doesn't even matter. I don't understand why the hunters were so busy fighting each other and against one another instead of trying to take on the project of taking care of monster. Why do we need less hunters? So when she gets out of the cage, that's what she does. She just immediately gets out of the cage. She was safe in the cage, but she has to get out of the cage, and then she has to fight and kill, David Bowie, while Blade dies to the werewolf, and the werewolf's killing. Jack's basically taking out guards, and we're going to get to one of the worst scenes ever. So we have this scene that's set up so well. Okay, perfectly set up. Like, okay, we're going to go in this thing. The guards are coming in towards Jack. Jack grabs a guard, throws him down the hall. Now, I want you to watch, because I was like, did I see this? All right, so this guard's been thrown. Here's one here, and there's one here. Now, watch. Okay, so this guy just gets tripped. So this guy's in the foreground. He threw his staff down, and I don't know what this shadow is from. I think there's a guy behind him. So he threw the staff down to just watch the werewolf jump on him. The other guy is now facing the wrong direction to what the shadow would have been, and the guy that got tripped is still on the floor. See, guy on the floor. This guy's shadow. I swore there was another guy here, but this is where we're at. Oh, yeah, there's another guy right there. Okay, so this guy's lunging towards. Other guy's still on the floor, and there's a guy in the shadow not doing a thing. Let me turn the sound off. Marvel's going to be mad. I don't really care. I'll just mute it. All right, so he's going to throw him against the wall. That's what werewolves do, right? He's getting attacked, and now there's suddenly this other guy that's in this shadow. And I may have miscounted. Like, I feel like I need to watch this scene multiple times to figure this out. Oh, by the way, I'm pretty sure this is still the guy that's on the floor from the initial throw. He never did get up. And then that just gets thrown backwards like that so easily. Great blood. They do with each time there's a kill. It doesn't matter how far the camera is. The camera's pushing in. So each time there's a kill like that, there's more blood splatter onto the camera. All that that actually is fantastic. I like all that. But the fact that the choreography is so stupid is the problem. Oh, by the way, tripped guy, I think, is the one that's finally getting up. Do you guys, I want to watch this again. I know this is tedious, but this is the problem. This is the problem. It's not that they don't do good and they don't come up with good ideas. The problem is they have to derail the things that they do well. They have to derail the things they do well by other horrible things. Right. So this was the death of, this is the death of David Bowie. Right. So, I missed it. We got to go back just a little bit. So the problem is, it's like 5 seconds. The back and forth is like 10. All right. Yeah. This is Jack taking out the guard. I know you guys are like, why is he doing this again? I know, copyright flags and the whole thing. I got it. I know it's just going to drive me crazy if I don't try to figure it out and at least try to break it down the best I can, because it is, this was the worst part of the thing for me, because I'm like, wait a minute, this is so cool and good, but you're derailing it by having just crappy choreography. See, all this works. Now, again, I'm going to have to go back and read some Werewolf by Night myself and to see, once he transforms, does he behave like a werewolf, or does he behave like a human in a werewolf costume, which is more like a man wolf, because he'll fight with martial arts and throw people. I thought he was a wolf once he transformed. Okay, so here we go. Throws guy. We're going to call guy. He's guy 1. All right. Well, there was a guy here on the front right. Okay, I saw that in the shadows. There's one here on the front right. So he's going to be 2. Guy center is 3. Guy running in is 4. Okay. So 1. Okay. 1 hits 4. So 1, 2, and 3 are here. So 1's on the floor, tripping 4. So 4's falling down. There's 1 here. This is 3. So 3 moves forward, and there's 5 coming in. Okay, got it. So 3 throws his baton down, and he dies next. So 3 dies first because number 1 just got thrown on the floor and tripped some other guy. So they're in the back. Yeah, right. So 1, 5, 4, and 2 is over here somewhere, I think. Oh man, this scene is a mess. Yeah, it's just a mess. Now this is the guy they just did, and this guy's on the floor too. Oh man, all right, I'm good. I don't want to do it anymore. I'm good. All right, room starts closing. See, this is the problem. It's just little things like that is what messes everything up. Anyway, long story short, we get to her. Verussa picks up the bloodstone. She's going to attack Jack, and it's just a typical evil mom. You're a disappointment. You're whatever, and then she dies. Make sure I get this here. No, I got to get to this because I skipped around so much with other stuff I messed up. So she's using the thing on Jack. And some of this works pretty well, by the way. Effects are fine. It's like very 1950s. And the bloodstone is the only thing that brings color early on. So that is the only color we have. And then, of course, she uses the grabbing tool, which was supposed to be to get the stone on her mom to kill her mom. That's what happened. Yeah, I remember now. And then she approached Jack. She's got a weapon. She has the bloodstone, but she puts the bloodstone in her back pocket like a cell phone, holds her hands up, and then Jack's going to jump over on top of her and kind of look at her, which is funny because he's not sniffing her. He's just looking at her. Like, so they don't, I mean, it's fine and it works, but see the makeup and stuff? Like it in some ways it kind of works, in other ways it doesn't work. Anyway, long story short, Jack runs off. Man-Thing comes in at the last second, by the way, which was great. Because, oh yeah, Mom's there, right? So she had grabbed the thing with Mom, threw Verussa down, and then about the time she pulls a gun out, it says, you've betrayed everybody and everything, blah, blah, blah. It's going to kill her. Man-Thing jumps in. Yeah, she's toast. And then Ted roars off and runs and leaves. And that's kind of how it goes. And then the butler comes over. What you need, my lady? Is cleaning up this crap, which I don't know why she curses. It was dumb that she curses. She picks up the Bloodstone as Judy Garland and Wizard of Oz starts playing. So you see color being brought into the room because aren't they smart and clever? And once we cut outside, of course, you see Jack is recovered and he's in this little makeshift camp with Man-Thing, Ted, and they're exchanging. And this was all fine. And it's them doing Marvel humor well. Like this is actually where things can be fun and clever and nice and sweet, and those kinds of elements work very, very well. I don't think there were any credits or anything else, that kind of thing. So long-winded, I know. Obsessed with my crazy one scene. I can recommend it. It was fine. There's 2 or 3 major issues, and this is the problem with most Marvel is they can't get out of their own way. They can't make a complete thing. There's no one in the room that says we've got to get this right. This doesn't make sense. Blah blah blah. They have to have too many characters. Like, you had to have 5 run in the room, or you had to sit for 5 minutes for exposition. They do certain things, but they do other things really, really well. And I think it is a great way to introduce these other characters and creatures that are in the Marvel universe. And I would like to see more of them. They're very integral. You can't pick up a comic book without running into Wendigo or running into some of it. It's going to happen. So if you have normie fans who don't know any of this stuff is, it's not gonna work. So I'm gonna replay my little black and white Marvel flippy thing. So you guys can go out with that. Tell me what you guys think. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What do you think? I don't know. I'm good. I'm okay. I'd like to see a Moon Knight brought into it because that actually would be comic book accurate, but they got him off with the Lady Falcon Girl Egyptian Knight thing, whatever she's supposed to be. Scarlet Scarab or some nonsense. I don't know. Whatever. All right. Tell me what you guys think. I'm Pops.